Hey everyone, did you know that Johnny Depp, the guy who's been through so much trouble in the news, actually has a part of his life that's full of secret happiness? Yeah, it's true. Behind all the newspaper stories, the problems, and the good and bad times, there's a love story that many people don't know about. And today, we're going to talk about that side of Johnny's life, his secret happiness. Stay with us because you're not going to want to miss this one. So, let's start from the very beginning. Johnny Depp is a name that almost everyone knows in Hollywood. He's one of the most famous actors of his time. We all know him as Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, and so many other unusual characters. But Johnny Depp's personal life, it's been just as, if not more, complicated than the characters he plays. There's been a lot of drama over the years, big court cases, money problems, and of course, the crazy media attention around his divorce from Amber Heard. It seemed like there was always something in the news about Johnny, whether it was a new court case, a work problem, or another personal trouble. And for a while, it seemed like Johnny was just going from one problem to the next. But here's the thing. In the middle of all that craziness, there's something deeper happening. A story that's often left out of the news. Johnny Depp's happiness doesn't just come from his work successes or his court wins. Nope, it's about something much more personal. It's about love. Now, this love story is different from what you might think. It's not the usual Hollywood romance filled with photographers and public announcements of love. In fact, this relationship has stayed very private, away from the media's watching eyes. So, what's this love story all about? Let's start with Vanessa Paradis. Yep, you probably know her as the French singer and actress who was in a long relationship with Johnny. The two were together for over 14 years. That's a pretty long time in Hollywood years. Right now, I'm sure you've heard about their relationship before, but here's the part that gets forgotten. Even though they're no longer together, their connection was something really special. It wasn't about the fancy red carpet moments or constant media attention. It was about two people who really cared for each other, built a life together, and started a family. During their time together, Johnny and Vanessa were often seen away from the cameras, living their lives like any other couple. They had 2 kids, and they made it a point to keep their family life as private as possible. For those 14 years, it was a relationship that was, in many ways, free from the Hollywood world. And from the outside looking in, it seemed like they were pretty happy. But as we know, not every story lasts forever. Johnny and Vanessa eventually broke up, but even after they went their separate ways, there was still a deep respect between the two. Johnny's love for Vanessa never really went away. In interviews, he's talked about how important she was in his life, how she helped him when he needed it the most. That's something you don't always hear about in the celebrity world, where everything is usually so public. But with Johnny and Vanessa, there was a quiet understanding. A real partnership. So, what happened after Johnny and Vanessa? Well, Johnny didn't exactly jump into another public relationship right away. He took some time for himself, working on his career, his personal growth, and of course, his family. But as time went on, rumors began to appear about Johnny being in a relationship with someone new. And this time, it was someone who wasn't in the public eye at all. This person wasn't a celebrity, didn't want the spotlight, and most importantly, was someone who truly cared for Johnny, not for his fame or his money. I know you're probably thinking, who is she? Well, it seems like Johnny's been keeping this relationship pretty quiet, which honestly makes sense. After all the public craziness in his life, I think he wanted to keep this part of his life private. He found someone who understands him, supports him, and most importantly, doesn't judge him based on his celebrity status. Can you imagine what a relief that must be for Johnny to be able to just be himself without the pressure of being Johnny Depp, the famous actor, all the time? It's honestly kind of nice to hear that Johnny has found this kind of happiness. Sure, he's been through some really tough times, but now he has someone by his side who's been there through it all. And that's something that's often forgotten when people talk about Johnny's life. They focus on his career and his scandals, but they forget that he's a human being just like the rest of us, looking for love and connection. And here's the thing. This relationship isn't about public displays or fancy outings. It's about quiet moments. It's about a connection that doesn't need to be approved by the media or the public. It's about Johnny finding peace in a world that's often anything but peaceful. So, while the tabloids might be focusing on his past relationships or his latest court battles, Johnny is out there living his life, finding happiness in the simplest of ways. And isn't that what we all want? Let's dive a little deeper into Johnny Depp's personality and what really makes him tick beyond the public image. The weird, unpredictable movie star who's always a bit of a mystery, Johnny Depp is, at his heart, someone with very strong values when it comes to relationships. While the world might know him for his famous characters like Captain Jack Sparrow and Edward Scissorhands, those who know him personally paint a very different picture of the man behind the scenes. A picture of someone who is deeply loyal, loving, and surprisingly old-fashioned, especially when it comes to the people he loves. Johnny's loyalty to those he cares about is perhaps one of his most important qualities. Over the years, despite the ups and downs of his career, personal life, and public image, those who have been close to him have always talked about how extremely loyal he is. This isn't just about loyalty to friends or co-workers, but to his romantic partners as well. When Johnny gives his heart, he gives it fully. His relationships, while not always perfect, are based on deep emotional commitment, and his partners have often talked about the level of devotion he brings to the table. For Johnny, loyalty isn't a one-way street. He doesn't just expect it from those around him. He delivers it 10 times over. Those who've been close to him have shared that Johnny is the type of person who would drop everything for someone he loves. Whether it's a family member, a friend, or a partner, Johnny has always shown up when people need him the most. He's not the type to shy away from difficult moments or leave when things get rough. Instead, he digs in his heels, offering his steady support and care. Affection is another main part of Johnny's personality, especially when it comes to the people he's closest to. Johnny isn't the type to hide his feelings or put on a fake face for anyone. If he cares about you, you'll know it. And this affection isn't just limited to romantic relationships. He's known for his loving nature toward his children, friends, and even his fans. While Johnny might come off as quiet or even a bit distant at times, those who know him well understand that behind that outside is a heart full of love and warmth. But perhaps what sets Johnny apart from many other public figures is his appreciation for the simple, everyday moments. In a world that's often obsessed with big gestures and flashy displays of affection, Johnny values the quiet, humble moments that make up the fabric of a relationship. It's not about the expensive dinners, the fancy vacations, or the spotlight that comes with being in a high-profile relationship. For Johnny, it's the small things that matter most. Think about it. Those little everyday moments that many people overlook are what make a relationship truly special. The quiet mornings spent drinking coffee together, the late-night conversations where everything feels honest and real, the simple acts of kindness that don't need recognition but mean the world to the person receiving them. These are the moments that Johnny treasures. It's those quiet, close interactions that allow him to build deep emotional connections with the people around him. The unspoken understanding that exists between Johnny and those closest to him is something that doesn't often get talked about in the media. Relationships are not always about words, after all. Sometimes it's about the way two people can just be together without needing to say anything. It's about sharing a look across the room that says everything you need to know. For Johnny, this deep, unspoken connection is what makes relationships feel real and solid. He's not interested in playing games or putting on a show. He just wants to be with someone who gets him on a deeper level, someone with whom he can have that quiet understanding that requires no explanation. Another important part of Johnny's approach to relationships is his surprising old-fashioned ways. While the world might view him as a bit of a rebel, someone who's always out of step with society's rules when it comes to matters of the heart, Johnny has been described as quite traditional. This might surprise some people given his image as a free spirit, but those who know him say that Johnny holds strong beliefs about commitment, loyalty, and the importance of keeping healthy, respectful relationships. He's not someone who takes relationships lightly. Johnny believes in the value of commitment and the deep emotional bond that forms between two people when they're truly invested in each other. For him, a relationship isn't just about being together physically, it's about being present for each other emotionally and mentally. It's about building a foundation of trust, respect, and love that lasts through the ups and downs of life. This old-fashioned way doesn't just extend to romantic relationships, it also affects his friendships and his relationship with his children. Johnny's approach to being a father in particular shows just how much he values commitment and emotional connection. He's been described as a hands-on father who's involved in his children's lives and deeply invested in their well-being. Johnny doesn't just show up for the big milestones, he's there for the everyday moments too, whether it's helping with homework, attending a school play, or just spending quality time together. Johnny is the kind of father who makes sure his kids know they're loved every single day. One of the most interesting parts of Johnny's personality is his ability to find beauty and meaning in the everyday. In an industry where it's so easy to get caught up in the shine and glamour of fame, Johnny has always been someone who has stayed grounded. He's someone who values the simple things in life: nature, family, good conversation, and the joy that comes from creating something meaningful. Whether that's through acting, music, or his art, for Johnny, happiness isn't about the fame or money, it's about those quiet moments where he can connect with the people he loves and live honestly. In relationships, it's easy to get distracted by all the outside pressures that come with being in the public eye. There's the constant watching from the media, the expectations of fans and the public, and the overwhelming need to constantly be on. But Johnny doesn't let all that define him. He doesn't get caught up in the drama or the show. Instead, he focuses on what truly matters to him, building strong, lasting connections with the people he loves, and finding happiness in the simplest moments. When it comes down to it, Johnny Depp's relationship philosophy is all about emotional depth, loyalty, and connection. He's not interested in surface-level relationships or quick moments of fame. He wants something real, something that lasts. His affection for those he cares about is genuine, his loyalty unwavering, and his appreciation for the quiet moments in life speaks to a deeper side of him that not many people get to see. At the end of the day, Johnny Depp is more than just a Hollywood icon. He's a man who values the things that truly matter: love, loyalty, emotional connection, and the simple joys of life. And that's a side of him that's often overlooked in the rush and noise of his public image. But for those lucky enough to get close to him, it's the real Johnny, the one who finds beauty in the everyday that they know and love. And here's a little-known detail. Despite all the drama that surrounded him in recent years, Johnny has stayed remarkably grounded. He's the kind of guy who's not afraid to admit when he's made mistakes, but he's also not one to think about the past too much. He moves forward, he learns, and he grows. That's one of the things that makes him such an interesting person. He's been through so much, but he's never let it define him. And the relationship with this new partner, it seems like it's been a huge part of his healing process. After all, when you've been through as much as Johnny has, you need someone who can help you pick up the pieces, someone who's there for you no matter what. This person has been that for him. She's been his rock, his support. And from what we know, Johnny's happier than he's been in a long time. Of course, we don't know all the details of their relationship. That's part of the beauty of it. It's private. But what we do know is that Johnny has found peace in a way that the world wasn't expecting.